Hello, everyone. You're listening to How We Heal, the podcast. I'm Kira Noel, medical intuitive, your host. Our sponsor is themedicinebuddhawithin.com. Intuitive training for all. Check out the website and register and be invited to all the upcoming trainings. Now let's begin our show. Hi, everyone. Welcome to How We Heal, the podcast. I'm your host, Kira Noel. Today, my guest is Lucy Scala, who is, in my opinion, the original Lucy from Charlie Brown in my therapy/haircutting sessions where I get healed by Lucy, a resident of my town, Woodstock, New York, since 1989. On Main Street, everyone, someone you can actually make an appointment with to do your hair, and she is amazing. And I say this from the spiritual realm, specifically having had my hair done in New York City and Soho for decades and being traumatized by the cocaine around me. Lucy is here, has brought her light to Woodstock, where I live. She's graced me with her accepting my invitation to do the podcast today. So, Lucy, what we talk about here is how you got to be who you are in the world and bring your own unique view. So maybe you can share about that for our listeners a little bit today.
How did I get to be who I am? That's a heck of a question. We need a lot of time for that. It takes a lot of time to get to where I am. Well, since this is about healing, I came to Woodstock really to heal. So I came from Brooklyn and I had a rough start in the beginning, but I found my way here and I had a couple of earth angels to help me along the way, to guide me and help me where I just didn't see where I needed to go. And it took a lot of different soul searching and, saying yes, like I just said to you, to do this podcast. Really, I usually say no to everything, but today is a little special because I love you so much, because I think you're a real gem in our community here.
You're so lovely. Thank you. Well, tell us a little bit about the struggle, if you don't mind.
God, the struggle. The struggle is something that is probably the most important thing that happens in your life, because without the struggle, you don't really get to appreciate the good stuff that happens. So the struggle is important. And for some of us, it's different. It's a different path, or it's a different subject, a different abuse, whatever it is. My struggle probably was my family. I just wanted to get away from them because they were crazy. And a lot of it, when I was very young, I was hanging out. I realized I was a lesbian. I was gay in a world that wasn't ready for any of that. So that struggle alone is one just on top of everyday life was pretty hard to do. But for some reason, now that I look back, like I said, it was worth the struggle. The struggle is what's important. So whenever things get really tough, I always look around and say, look where I am now.
You have some perspective. Yeah.
I do have the perspective now. But when you're young, you don't have that perspective.
Well, let's talk about that, because I think a lot of my listeners are pretty young, and the world that they're growing up in today is so different than what you and I grew up in.
Oh, yes.
I mean, I didn't have a cell phone growing up, and you didn't either. And
Yep.
there was no internet. So communication was kind of like you're making a choice. You're reaching out, you're calling a friend. If there's no answering machine, you go to their house later that night.
Right.
They say, how are you? Or you see them at school or at the playground or at an event. If you wanted to have a life, you had to be outgoing, you had to have social skills.
Yes.
And I think now that's very hard for younger people.
My God, I have to admit that when I see young people, I wonder how they're doing it now, because it's so different. I mean, we used to dance a lot and get a lot of that energy out of us. We would go every weekend to dance, or wherever we could, to dance it off. And then that was our exercise,
Right. That was how you got that
Yeah,
pent-up energy.
and communicating today is texting, looking at a machine like we're doing now, and that's a different thing. It's a different feeling than face to face, how it used to be, or Actually, we used to stay on the phone how long? I mean, hours and hours on the phone.
Yes, that
So,
was yeah, that
that
was
was the
my
one thing
entertainment.
that was the communication we did. We did a lot of that. Oh my god, hours and hours. We would tie up the line and everybody would get upset and, oh, you know, they didn't
Well,
even
but
have call waiting at that time.
no, no, so you and I grew up you grew up in the late 50s, early 60s, right? Teen
Well, I
around
was a teenager in the
early
late
70s?
60s, early 60s, early 70s. I became of age.
Yeah, that's me
Seven
too. Me too, we're about the same
77.
age.
I was
Yeah.
19 in 1977, and 69 in 1969 I was only 11, so I really wasn't into. I mean, I wasn't quite a hippie, you know.
No.
I was watching them and I thought, "Wow, they got something going on there that I might be more interested than what's got going on in the world around us at that time."
Yeah, no, I was 12 and it was I
Right.
viewed it we were about the same age. I
They were
viewed
the
it
same
as
age.
yeah, I viewed it as scary as hell.
Yeah. Yeah,
'Cause
I
the
mean,
neighborhood was filled with young people getting very stoned
yes.
and doing things that I wouldn't recommend to anyone, drug-wise. There are some drugs that are
No.
exploratory and some that are totally, uh, can take you out. And it's just, that was the time in history. We were going through a lot in this country, which we are again.
Yes, we
So
are.
so these things that happened in our lives, I mean, I agree with you. You don't change. You don't grow unless you have a hard time, unless you struggle. I wouldn't have tried. Why would I try?
Exactly. I mean,
Yeah.
I struggled having no money either. I remember one night I had only $1 and I thought, "Oh my god, how am I gonna do this?" And I remember I got a can of sauce and some spaghetti and I made a meal out of $1, which is not easy to do, but in those days. But after that I realized I don't want to live like that again. I don't want to not have any money. So I worked and I did what I had to do, learn my craft. And in those days, it was very hard because no one really gave you a break. You really had to be a servant for a very long time
Well, yeah, telling me you're a fabulous hairdresser, and I'm guessing you were trained by a lot of really good
by a
people.
lot of different people. Yes.
But a
Yes.
woman in that business at that time even was not particularly welcome. How did you manage to get through that? How did you find your way?
It wasn't easy. I mean, I started out in New York City because I went to school in on Broadway. I went to Wilfred Academy, which no longer exists, right across from the Winter Garden Theater in New York. We used to be on the fourth floor, and we used to watch everything that went on Broadway there. But those days, you went into the city, and I went to different salons to work and learn. And at one point, I got myself in the Chrysler Building and I worked underneath the Chrysler Building because that's where the salons were. And that was an experience. David Frost was one of the clients there, so it was very she at the time.
Yeah, I know who that
And
is.
yeah, it was interesting to see different phases. And one point, I was going to do commercials or I was going to do a soap opera, and I was there were chances I had that I could have taken a different direction in the field, in my business, but I chose to do everyday people. I thought they would be more interesting, to be honest with you. That was the reason. I
Let's
thought everyday people are more interesting than anything else. So from there, yeah, then I ended up going back to Brooklyn, even though I was living in Brooklyn. But I went to Brooklyn because I couldn't take the commute anymore. It was like really, I would leave the Chrysler Building at 8 o'clock at night. I'd be there 8 o'clock in the morning. I never saw the light of day. I thought that's not for me. I need to see some air and sky and grass and trees, and so I worked in Brooklyn for a while, for about 12 years. I worked in this Israeli salon. The woman was an Israeli woman, and she was an immigrant, and her whole family came, and it was interesting because we were a good match because she needed me and I needed her because
yeah.
I knew English, so that worked out interesting enough, and I learned a lot from them because they have a certain way of doing things in Israel. Very interesting way of blowing hair out and the type of hair that they have. They come in groups when the Israelis come in. They come
Groups,
in a tribes. I
tribes
mean,
with hairstyling.
yeah, it was a very interesting time.
But
So
they're
I'd say
loyal. I'm a Jew boo, so I can tell you they're loyal people.
They are, yeah,
If you're
yeah.
good, you're in.
Oh, yeah, I've got a couple of trees growing in Israel now, and I know it's controversial right now, Israel and everything,
Sure.
but
Yeah.
I heard that I thought I heard this Madami's gonna arrest him, Netanyahu. I mean, that would be kinda interesting. I know you might have to
I
cut
hear
this
you.
out. You might have to cut this whole segment out.
Fan of Netanyahu, and I know
No.
we could talk
Yeah,
about anything we want, and I love Israel, but I don't love him,
yeah, of
and
course.
there's nothing
That's
good he's doing for that country, but yeah, I agree, but and I don't think I meant to p some of my friends are like, "Here, they're gonna come and get you." I was like, "They don't want women mature lesbians. They're not looking for
sure.
us. We
They
can't
don't
make
have any.
babies, we can't carry a gun." They're not interested.
So true, so
They're
true.
not interested in what
We're
I
the
say.
invisible. We're at the invisible time in our lives.
It's the
The fact that
beginning well,
anybody the fact
yeah.
that anybody wants to even talk to like, the fact that you wanted to talk to me, it's like, "Really? Yeah, nobody ever wants to know our opinion." But I'm
Well,
okay with that too, though.
I that's but you know what? I think our culture does that invisibility for elders, but I say, "F you, I'm doing what I'm making
Well
myself loud. I'm making myself louder." So I
well, I created my own little world, so
so yeah, so tell us, you moved here in '89. I moved here in 2002.
yeah, I opened the salon in 1992,
Okay, and
and so
this place was a different world than what it is
it
now.
was a different world. It was a very different world.
Tell me what it was like when
The
1980.
place was it was a little funkier. There was a little more of, flair and people, and there were people from all over the world would come to Woodstock. It was so interesting to be in town because I really have been in town all these years. People have come and go, and they come from everywhere, which is one of the wonderful things about being in this tiny little town. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah.
my first celebrity was from REM, the guy from REM, the drummer. He came in. I didn't know who he was. He just came in on a rainy day. He was recording that music, "Losing My Religion," that whole
Wow.
song, all that whole album was done here in this area. So he came in just because he was walking around town, and I said, "So, what do you do?" He goes, "I'm the drummer of REM." I almost dropped dead. I was like, he was like my very first celebrity. I was like, "Oh, that's really." So he signs my book and everything, but I knew that I was in the right place here when I came to town. I met so many wonderful, like I called them all little earth angels because people that were here, they all wanted to help me. Everybody wanted to know who I was, like especially when I came up here because I had a little bit of a bad habit of cocaine at the time.
Okay,
And
well,
so
hey,
I
welcome
really
to New York.
needed to yeah, it was the '80s,
Yeah, everyone
I mean,
tried
it
it
was
and got into it. Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it was a symptom of other things, but the point is, I got into the rooms there for about 3 years of my early time here, and I met some wonderful, wonderful people, really, I did, and they all guided me in a direction to believe in myself and what I was doing and what my purpose and my intention was, because that's really where you have to put your energy into the intention of who you want to, what you want to do, what you want others to feel, Especially in my business, I touch people, I'm intimate with them. And I'll be honest with you, I wouldn't have had it any other way because I really love that part of my job. I mean, the hair is, yes, that's the reason why we're there, but it's the relationships that you make along the way that really are is special. Yeah.
Yeah, well, I think of you as like one of Woodstock's quiet treasures, unless your people
I
know
am. I
you.
try to stay quiet because I can't handle more.
Well, there's a big sign
I make
on the
myself
road.
small. I
There's a
try to
big
make
sign, but it's right at the beginning of town, so a lot of people drive too
I
fast, they
know.
miss it. You need some lights on those signs, the rainbow.
I know, I know. I do that every once in a while for some occasions, but, like I said, I try to make myself small because I can't handle more than I have.
Ye
I'm very
yeah.
I can't I shouldn't say that I'm content because then that would be no reason to get up in the morning. But but compared to where I'm from and where it's been, it's a good place to be,
So would you describe yourself as, like, a survivor in your family?
for sure.
Okay.
definitely.
That says a lot. You don't have to get into details for
Well, I
anyone listening.
survived them. I mean, and they're all religious. They're not bad people. They just
Right.
had their flaws. Of course, now I can see all that. But at the time, you're young, you want to be different than them. And they're in this religious world. And I'm like, I'm a lesbian. How could I? Those two don't come, they didn't combine. They didn't combine well at the
So let
time.
me just ask, was this Catholicism?
No, that's well, it was in the beginning for, I am a recovering Catholic, but then there my mother became a Jehovah's Witness, and that kinda made things really crazy in my home. My family, my father freaked out, my every they all had this other whole other thing. Yeah, so,
So they had this Jehovah Witness
they were
does Jehovah Witnesses, do they totally discriminate against lesbians and gays?
well, apparently now their dogma has changed. So, at the time, yes, it was looked
Yes, they
down
did.
upon. They looked down upon everything. And I smoked cigarettes too at the time, and that's very bad. It was just a whole place that I knew I didn't belong. I just didn't
Yeah.
belong,
Oh, yeah. It
you
sounds like
know?
it would create a lot of tension in your life. A lot of
Yeah, it
yeah.
made it much harder to be who I at the time didn't know who I was. So
Um,
that made it very confusing. But I think that adolescence is confusing, and I think being young is a little confusing.
I
I mean,
agree.
I
I think
mean,
it's yeah, I think
it's
it's
just something.
terrifying now. I think it's
It is.
terrifying.
It is terrifying for
We had a path we were given, like, I could go and get a job and trade a trades job, or I
right,
could go to
right,
college and get a
right.
job, and I went to college and I got a job, in
Yeah,
quotes, which I didn't stay in, but it was easier to go and get work and not wonder if you could eat and pay rent. I mean,
yeah.
I don't a lot of young people are having a hard time just paying rent. I think it's impossible almost.
Well, right now with the changes of things, I mean, a couple of years ago, there was entry level was very high. It was like 75,000 to 150,000 entry level for young people. But now, the technology, they're cutting out all those jobs, those
Yeah.
entry level jobs that now I don't understand how they're going to get through this.
No.
People have to get very creative now to figure out where they
Well,
fit in.
yeah, and I think family connection to help them get through it is so important now. I mean, more than when I was growing up. We got away from our parents and we were like, "Goodbye, goodbye, adios, I'm out of here."
Yeah.
But now,
Yeah.
no, you can't. You cannot possibly
They can't afford it now.
it's not even afford, nor is it doesn't feel like you'll land, like you're ever gonna find your space. It's just I really have a lot of compassion for the young people. I was looking at a lot of TikToks last year just to explore the
Yeah.
what attracts people to that, and it's a lot of young people trying to figure out how to just survive, you
It's
know?
true.
So
Yeah.
do you ever teach people how to cut hair? Lucy, I never asked you
I
this.
did that in the beginning,
Mhm.
in the late 90s. I had a lot. I had a huge staff. I had 5 people working at the same time at one point, and yeah, I mean, a lot of them taught me too, but it was a struggle. I mean, we had some fun times. I had a lot of different types of people working, a lot of great haired cutters and a lot of young people, and so that made it, like that. But I don't regret it because I still keep in touch with some of them. They still call me and they still send me a note here and there, and if they come into town, they stop in. So no regrets of any of that. That was a lot of fun. I work alone now, and I actually really love it very much. I really must admit that I really enjoy it much more than I thought I would because I was really very frightened of it. I was afraid to work alone. I didn't think I can handle it, but as you get older, you realize there's not much you can't handle. You really have you do it. You sort of do it.
It's
I'm
true.
glad I didn't think too much about this today. That's my new motto. I don't overthink it because I have a tendency to overthink things and it just makes things worse. Denial is good.
A little denial, but I think when we're communicating like this, the less we plan, the more realness we come to. We come to a more real place with this and
I think
like talk about your past and mine and not pretend that we've got to figure it out. Because one thing I've learned in life, and you've I'm sure 100 million times, no one has it figured out.
I don't think so. No.
No, we don't. And you can look to us because we survive longer than you, young people, but
Right.
there's still
We're
in
still
there's always struggles.
it's just, that's how life is. I mean, that's how you learn and that's how you become resilient to it, because when you make the mistakes, you know not to do that again. You really
That's
learn it
right.
the hard way, and I'm one of those people that have kind of learned it the hard way, and that's why
Myself
when
too.
yeah, it's like I learned it all the hard way, and it's something that but I think it helped me along the way. I mean, when I look back now, like that's why like sometimes when you're going through all that angst of just being a young person, it's a lot of it is just a waste of energy. It's all in your head, because you overthink things too much. And so
Right.
sometimes you just have to just do it. And if you fail, you fail. And if you succeed, then that's a plus. That's a
You
good thing.
keep going. Keep
You
going
keep
if you're successful.
yeah, just like Amy Helmer's doing it. Keep going. That's what her father would say.
Yeah,
And that was his big phrase from the band. Keep going. Keep
that's
going.
it. So nobody I think it's interesting what's going on with Levon. We have a studio here, Levon Helm.
Yeah.
Beautiful place for great
Yeah.
music.
Very nice.
And what's going on, Lucy? Tell the audience
Well,
about it.
something is happening with the shares, and Amy Helms is the daughter of Levon, and rightfully so. I think she should have a big say in it, and I'm not sure exactly what happened there or if there's money involved, but I hope they work it out. I really want them to work it out. I mean, it's a legend in town. It was just a great addition to our town. I know a lot of people that come and see all those concerts. The people that come in, they come from all over, and music changes your life. So whatever music it is, if it speaks to you and it brings you to a place where, you can find some joy, because that's my main goal these days is to
Yeah.
find joy in
Yeah.
everything. I mean, my dog is joy, pure joy.
Yes, I wanna say you have fur babies.
I have fur babies and they just all joy to me, and I'm just happy about that.
Yeah, Frankie is
Anyway,
his name.
but how
The
did you
newest
come into can I ask you a couple of questions? How did you
Yeah,
get here?
absolutely.
Yeah.
My ex found a tiny house here, and we had just been together less than a year, and I moved up here with my 2 children, and the address was 10 Sled Hill Road, which is this tiny little cottage next to CVS, okay?
I know where
This
that is.
tiny little building, and I moved here because I was living in Brooklyn, sound familiar? And I just couldn't do it anymore. The city was a hard place to raise kids.
It's yeah.
I had 2 children, 4 and 8,
Wow.
and
Yeah.
my son came up here and started 4th grade at Woodstock Elementary, and my daughter started, pre-K at, West Hurley, the little tiny building there. I was a not happy person in Brooklyn. I was not happy.
Yeah.
Living there was so stressful. I
It's
was a
very
single parent, a single tortured parent by my then the person I had mistakenly married to have children with, and moving into my new relationship or my new, volunteer,
yeah.
and they found this house here, and as tiny as it was, I came here thinking, "This has gotta be better than what I'm doing to myself in New York."
Right.
I had been invited to come here to do my medical intuitive work by a couple I met on retreat in Catskill, and that's how I ended up here originally. They offered me an office to see clients in, and I started coming up here once a month. And then my partner at the time said, "I found a house there," and we moved up. And and I hated this town at first.
Oh, really?
Well,
Yeah.
there's nothing open at night.
What year was it? What year was that?
2001, 2002.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Not
It's a tough
not
time.
after 9 p.m., everything was closed,
Oh, yes, it was terrifying.
and I was in Brooklyn where everything's open all night,
Open all the time,
and
yeah.
I was not used to the country, but I could tell you that within 5 years, I was so glad I had moved here. What a
Yeah,
diff
it takes a
what a
while, yeah.
difference. Yeah,
Yeah. So you had an experience of your own to come, but it seems like you're happy here. I see you all the time, and
I am, yes.
I think that you found your little niche
I
there
have
that
found my niche. Well, I made it my home, and my kids have grown up, and, I survived that.
yeah.
And now I have a do not live in that little tiny cottage,
No,
thank
but it
you.
was like your starter home. It was like your
It was
starter
a
place.
starter, yeah.
Sometimes you need a starter place kinda small, and then you can open up your wings,
Yep.
and that's what you're
Yeah.
doing.
No, I've
Well,
always loved this place is magical, it really is.
a lot of people come here to heal, and I
Yeah,
intuitive knew. I came to visit somebody and these 2 wonderful people, and I just took a breath, and I was like, "I can breathe." I don't know what happened to me. I knew
yeah,
that I was here. A month later, I moved everything. A month. Within a
wow,
month. It
you
was,
took
like,
action.
really, really like it was just, like, destiny, and even when I bought this house, I didn't even look for it. It was like, boom, and it was in front of me, and they accepted this low offer that I gave them, thinking that they wouldn't accept it, and that was, so things sometimes they work out just the way they need to.
Yeah.
So I have a lot of faith in just destiny.
Well, and
So
I think my more mature adult person I have become has a lot of faith in kind of letting go and trusting that the next good thing's going to appear when it's time. I've learned that is part of what growing is. I don't I like to I can intellectualize everything in my head and think I'm doing so much, but most of the time the change happens because it's going to happen,
that's right.
and there's something going on that's definitely beyond my control.
But it's very freeing when you let things just happen. It's very freeing to your spirit, to your whole being, and it frees other people too. Because if you lead by example,
Thank
that's how
you.
that is.
Well, you definitely do that for me.
Well, I'm like,
I
because you
I say things to you I don't tell anyone else, and I'm like,
I know,
"What who is this?
I'm
Who is
like a
this
priest.
shaman?"
I love it because I don't luckily, I forget things very quickly because I don't like to hold on to things. Like I tell you, I try not to overthink too much now. That's my new latest thing because I've wasted a lot of energy and anxiety overthinking about things way, way, way too much.
Well, and
So
that's incredibly good advice. There's so
it
many
is. You
spiritual
just
teachers that say just that.
yeah.
It's just like
Yeah.
I feel like we begin to release ourselves from this the brain is in
Bring
control and open up, and then the heart
bring
is
it down
kind of
to the heart.
yeah, let it happen. Let it
When you
happen.
bring it and that's my exercise I've done. I've had to really take it out of my head and go down into my heart, and when you're in your heart, everything is from that perspective, it looks different. It's easier, it's bigger, it's way bigger than your head.
Yeah, it's bigger than
So the
just
heart
me.
and
Yeah,
yeah. There are times that it's hard. It's not always great, but it is a choice. It is a choice, and we
absolutely.
have to be conscious of the choices, of the things, the energies that we bring in our life, and our energy that we bring in our world. Because a lot of shit's going on in the world. It's like da 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 da, and you
Yeah,
have to be able to just say, "No, hold on, wait a minute," and just push it aside and just stay focused. Take a good deep breath and try to stay in the center because everywhere else it's harder, much harder.
it
So
is. It
that's what
is.
I do for me. So I
So how
just
do we
that.
find you, Lucy? Did we go to how do people find you who
Oh, I'm
wanna
right here in town.
what's the name of the salon?
My salon is Woodstock Haircutz. I'm
Great.
located at 80 Mill Hill Road, Woodstock, New York, 12498. And the salon number is 845-679-7171. And
Alright, and,
love to
listen,
meet anyone.
anyone coming to get a haircut,
Yeah.
it's you're gonna get, this great human interaction that
Oh, I love that.
I value, and, yes, and like
And I
Lucy
value you because
thank
you're a
you, thank
wonderful,
you. We're
wonderful
each other's
addition to
fans.
you're a wonderful, wonderful addition to our town.
Thank
So
you. Well, I feel like the young member of the town. There's so many people here been there for generations.
I know, but you're at the perfect time. You're at the perfect age. You're at the perfect place, at the
We
perfect
are.
moment. We're here now. Who's here before us? They had their struggle, and it was different for them too.
Yes, it
And
was.
the ones that come after us, it's going to be different for them too. But for here and now, let's try to stay in the here and now.
Yeah, and it's
And
good to know how to make dinner for $1, I will say. I'm
I tell
impressed.
you, spaghetti goes a long way with a can.
I'm
A little
impressed.
piece of garlic, you'd be surprised.
All right,
All
everyone
right.
find Lucy when you come to town, get a haircut, get a
It's
trim,
so
get your
cute.
color done, and get your head clear.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for being here today, Lucy. I look forward to
Thank you
seeing
very
you
much
at
for
my
having
next
me.
haircut.
Yeah, all right. Thank you for
Bye.
having me.
Bye.
Bye. Bye.
We want to thank the following people: Jennifer Maidman for original music. Listen to her on iTunes and Spotify. True English of Upstate Podcast Studio for sound and recording engineering. And all our executive producers. See you next time.